Hi, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jer, and don't talk about my husband Harry Hamlin. Today I want to do something fun. I want to rank every single one of the Drag Race challenges, and I tried to go through and find every single style of challenge, boil it down to a couple buzzwords. I'm sure that there are some that I missed, but I tried to grab as many as possible. Starting with acting challenges. These are the pre-written standard acting challenges that we see every season. They vary in theme, they vary in writing style. I'm honestly gonna put the acting challenges at D tier because while there are some that are really spectacular, like I think of Daytona Wind or the acting challenge from Italia 2 or from Thailand 2. There have been some phenomenally written acting challenges in the international seasons, but then we get these ones where you're supposed to play someone named Amanda Brugel, and what is a good Amanda Brugel performance? I still don't know. And then there are some that are like season 15's Daytona Wind Part 2 as a sitcom that are so badly written and constructed. You've got things like Shakespeare, which are such a good idea, but then when it's actually done in practice, it's like nobody thought about what that was all going to look like. A lot of these badly written challenges don't highlight the queen's special talents, so they exist in the D tier list. Photo challenges, I would put at A tier. We don't get a lot of photo challenges. These are symbolic of some of the earlier seasons, like specifically All Stars 1, where they're meant to do a duo photo challenge, and then whoever is able to showcase themselves the best as a group are the ones who are the top placers. And there have been a few international seasons where photos are kind of the primary thing you're being judged on, like Thailand 2 did a lot of photo challenges for the first couple episodes. The Holly Festival that they did in Thailand 2 is one of my favorite photo challenges across time and space. These are so kind to the contestants because it's just about them. It's about showcasing how well they can connect with the camera. It harkens back to the show's original source material, which was Top Model, Project Runway. Those vibes, I think, when they are met with Drag Race, create something extremely special, and I love that. So to me, this is A tier. Improv challenges et al., where the queens are meant to pick a character and then they have to do it. I think there's some great ones like The Hole in Canada versus the World 2. But then we get these terrible, awful improv challenges that are so uncomfortable to watch. Not every drag queen has the speed to be able to improv. Like in Bachelor, we see that quite often where these queens just cannot connect to what the challenge is. And that is not a fault of Drag Race, it's just a fault of, I think, modern drag not being inspired by necessarily entertainment and performance and theater, but more about people wanting to get on the show. So not everyone has developed those kind of raw skills that it takes to be able to banter and vibe with someone else, feel their energy, and connect with a character they're given with only a couple buzzwords. So overall, it's C tier because I don't think all improv challenges are created equal. Like you look at original Bachelor and then the dog version of it, and those are night and day in how they are presented to us. And that's the other thing, when they're packaged in their final form, they're not equal. And I don't appreciate that the show will create narratives and cut out funny parts to make us think that someone did worse than what they did. It's a big problem that I have with Snatch Game. Speaking of which, Snatch Game of Love, honestly fuck this challenge. It's at F tier. I hate of love categories because when you go into Drag Race, you're already expecting a character you're supposed to play, right? You think, I'm gonna play Dolly Parton, but then you need to play Dolly Parton flirting with someone that she may or may not have any chemistry with in real life, and so you're forcing something. It breaks the illusion of the character. Some people are quick on their toes and they can go really fast. Some people are able to make that wit happen naturally. I think about Trinity in All Stars 4, who was able to take Caitlyn and just make it work with that character by basically not playing the game. But then there are some others like Trinity K. Bonet who just can't get there and can't figure out how to, one, do the character, but then also do it with someone else that they don't know. It's uncomfortable, it's awkward, it's F tier. And then we have regular Snatch Game, which I think has lost its luster over the many years of the show. That goes back to what I said previously, is a lot of drag now is not inspired by the real divas of the world. Like, it's not like a lot of young kids like they would have maybe 20 years ago, see a diva on TV, like someone sees Whitney and says, I want to be her. Because so many of us who are queer find these fierce divas and we're like, I want to be them. I want to dress like them. I want to look like them. I want to be fierce like them. I want to capture that energy like them. A lot of these young queer kids are being inspired now by wanting to be on the show. And so they lose a lot of the history, that rich culture that goes behind celebrity impersonation, of wanting to latch on to a personality type of someone that allows you to connect with them to be able to be funny in the Snatch Game, on top of the fact that a lot of them just don't have the theatrical improv props to be able to pull off improvisational skills at rapid fire rates on the Snatch Game. And so I think it's D tier. We have some queens that are really good at doing it. Like in the recent years, Safira Cristal has knocked me out. Anya Nerve. A lot of international queens are so freaking funny. Like we just watched UK4 recently for my weekly podcast, and Dakota Schiffer worked me out. There have been some people like Raja O'Hara. I have been obsessively quoting masturbation for days, but then there are others who just don't know what they're doing at all and are uncomfortable to watch. And I don't think this challenge is really suited for the modern era of Drag Race. A one-off challenge that I think did well was Slation Royale's version of the Snatch Game, where they had them do little mini commercials. I would like to see that incorporated in all the Versus the World, because I think that's really kind and a nice way of allowing them to showcase their knowledge of a celebrity in a tailored and formatted version of what the Snatch Game is, rather than try to lobby with others that are in the room, because that doesn't always work. Lobby? I don't think that's the right word, but I used it. And then Snatch Game et al., which is like the Family Feud version. The Snatch Game Summit that they did in Canada versus the World 1, or the Snatch Game Rusical they did in Canada versus the World 2, and others that are to come. I would generally put these at E tier. They're not quite F for me like Snatch Game of Love, because I think that having a small group may be a little easier to work with rather than the whole room, right? Or like a super small group where you stand out even worse if you're bad. It's still not my favorite. I don't like the twist on it. I wish that they would never do it again, but it is what it is. It's whatever. Next are political challenges, and these are just all of them. Ones like the power song they did in season 16, or the debates they did in season 4, the political comedy videos they had to do in 8. Like, all of these are just one thing to me. I could separate them from one being more comedic to one being more serious, but just I'll loop them all together as one thing. I think drag and politics are something that are inherently married to each other. Like, drag is political. Drag is a political statement. Every time you get into drag, you are protesting the cultural and societal norms of what gender stereotypes are, of what people should wear out of the house, how people should look and present. Like, that is all political. Drag is a riot in a lot of different ways against the system. And so I think the political challenges are important for Drag Race. What I think is missing a lot of times with these challenges is the importance of why we're political. I think that sometimes Rue is a little nationalist in the way that she presents politics and is sort of like rah-rah America. But I think that we need to be critical and hypercritical of the establishment that currently holds us down as queer folks and is constantly actively attempting to suppress us and silence us and remove our rights. Like, these are things that are happening in the world that we should be aware of and talking about. And I don't know if Drag Race always opens up space for that conversation. I think they just want to be like, teehee, drag queens, trying to be the next queen of the world. I just finished watching Drag Race Belgique season 1 for my weekly podcast, and they did a little political speech where they had to give a speech as if they were just crowned as the queen. I like the idea of all these things. I think Belgique did it in an important and in a meaningful way. They really dug in to a lot of the importance of how queer folks have been marginalized by the system. And I wish that the show would dive in deeper into that rather than these sort of surface level, like, haha, drag queen politician, haha. So it's C tier for me. Then we have girl groups all in one lump sum, from the 3-person girl groups of Drag Race UK to the 6-person girl group of Drag Race Philippines Slation Royale. I really like a girl group. I think it's a great way of each queen to showcase their talents, of showcasing their natural abilities to brand themselves, of how to perform. We get to learn more about who they are because most of these girl groups are actually about them. I think a lot of times these are written super well. One of my favorites across time and space is Drag Race Thailand Season 3's Girl Group Challenge, which is ironic because I hated Drag Race Thailand Season 3, but Sip 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 is one of my favorites. Papa Fate is so good from Drag Race Philippines. Nothing will beat Bing Bang Bong in my opinion, like that's peak. But I think that these are great assignments for the queens. They're B tier to me. Next we have the Who Is She style girl group numbers that they do to introduce a season. Think like Legends from All Stars 7, I'm That Bitch from season 12. I think that Chicago style one that they did for part 2 of 12, that wasn't very good. That was kind of boot nasty. But I really like the idea of introing a season with like a who are these girls type of a number. The ones from 13, I think that the B group knocked the living daylights out of that first group. The A team, Utica, so wiggle wiggle to the top, wiggle to the top. I would love to see this style challenge every season of all time. Like do an intro where it's all the girls just dancing and singing and sharing who they are. It's a great way of starting the season. If we're not gonna do a talent show at the intro, give us one of those because I love seeing them. Those are A tier for me. Next is dance focus challenges. Think like the Discomentary of season 13 or the Black Swan, Why It Gotta Be Black of season 5. There have been a couple in some of the international seasons where it's just been dance focused. They're not singing. They don't have any background, anything they're necessarily lip syncing to. It's just to show off their talents of dancing and emoting and performing. I personally think these are A tier. I don't have a lot of notes to say about these because we don't get them very often, but I wish we would. I personally like performance challenges, and I think these are a cool way of blending performance without necessarily having to lip sync. Next, we have Rusicals that have pre-recorded vocals from divas not in the competition. These are specifically like Wig Loose, Divas Live. Drag queens lip sync for a living, so why shouldn't they also lip sync on Drag Race? I know there's a big hullabaloo about, oh, well, it's not their vocals, so is it a Rusical? Nah. I don't have a problem with it. I actually prefer when other people sing it. Professionals who know what they're doing, who can get the intonation correct of each one of the characters, who really knows what they're doing. They are paid to be there to give a good performance, so they're gonna voice act the hell out of it. I love that even more than I like anything else. To me, those are S tier. Next we have Rusicals that are pre-recorded lyrics of the competitors. So like the Madonna Rusical, for instance, or the Gaga Rusical of Italia 2, etc. I like these well enough. I think that they're good when they are given adequate amounts of takes so that they can really get down the inflection of the character, sound they're supposed to make, notes they're supposed to hit. I think overall these are very fun and I enjoy them. They're not always created equal, like some prompts I think are maybe worse than others, but I like them, so they're A tier for me. And then we have Rusicals that are live sung. Shade the Rusical. This is so unpopular and I am grossly aware. I think Shade the Rusical is one of the worst in all the franchises because it's sung live. Had they been pre-recorded, I think some of the problems that we had with pitch issues from certain queens or voices not blending like other groups, I think it would have been a more effective Rusical. But the fact that everyone is live singing, you hear them going out of breath, you hear them being pitchy, it brings me to an uncomfortable, uncanny valley place that I don't like being when I watch Drag Race. I don't want to hear them sing live. Drag queens lip sync for a living or do comedy for a living for a reason. There are a handful of divas who sing live because that's their gig, that's their specialty, but they don't always make it to the Rusical, or they don't get good parts when they get there. The Cher Rusical from season, 10 was awful. I don't enjoy live singing at all. Do away with it. Please never do it ever again. Those are C tier for me. Next we have talent shows, which I think we see more talent in the international seasons. Like go and watch France's talent show. go and watch a talent show from even Belgique, which were weird. There are some really sick performances out there in the talent shows and in the variety shows, where in the US, they tend to just be lip syncing and performance rather than trying to do something extra special, because as the years have gone on, I think Ru's specific humor and reference points have gotten drier and gotten less interesting. And so when queens come out and do something really spectacular, like what Raja did with that beautiful cultural dance, it's given dust. And then these numbers where people are just like, I'm gonna tuck my penis, that's given a high placement. Gina Gum was robbed. I'm gonna split this, okay? US talent shows, I don't like. I'm always bored by them. C tier. Hell, let's give it a D. International talent shows, those are going into A. Just watching recently Balenciaga putting a kazoo up her booty butt. Like what? The Grande Dame in France playing the sax and balancing something on her head. Frankie Wonga in Thailand 3 doing this weird variety show where like noses are everywhere. International talent shows and variety shows are peak. US ones not so much. And that's entirely Ru's fault. I will blame her for that. Next we have music video challenges. These are super hit and miss. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes we'll get a Station Royale style music video where they're just so good. And then there are just some music videos that are like Snoozeville. I'm gonna put music videos at B tier. Next we have the branding challenges. Think All Stars 2 where they had to create those items for DragCon. Or I'm gonna loop in the book challenges like what they had to do in season 2 and more recently in season 16. Like all of these personal items that they create that are meant to be them and an extension of them. These could all be separated, but I wanted to water them down into one unique category, and that's just simple branding. Things that are meant to be specifically tailored to them. Even like the soda of season 13 or the water challenge of UK 1. I think when the queens are able to whittle down their brand into a product, I love that. That's A tier for me. Then we have the product challenges. Think the product challenges of Drag Race Belgique where they had like the fries, the waffles, and the chicory, the random box of items that they had to pull from in Italia 1. These challenges are really more about personality, and so I like that. Even if it doesn't have to do with their personal branding, I would put these at A tier. Next we have unconventional material challenges. Not all unconventional materials are created equally. Sometimes we get a whole bunch of plastic crap like they gave them in UK 3 or in Holland 2. Sometimes they give them things like paper, plastic, or metal, like in Canada 2. They get to show off their ingenuity, and for that it's A tier. Next is more conventional materials. In the more recent years, we got the Monopoly challenge in season 17. There have been other ones where they've just been encouraged to use the fabric wall and create a garment. I love, again, material design challenges where they get to show their unique sense of style and design. I think the materials can sometimes be a little bit off, like when they gave them those ugly colors in the bingo challenge of, I think it was UK 4. But overall, I like these types of challenges. They're at B tier. Next, we have the room design. Think like All Stars 5, where they had to do the get a room, the club challenge of All Stars 4, the bathroom challenge of season 16. I really like these room designs. It's again, a lot of branding. It's a lot of personality. It's all kind of blended down into one specific thing they have to accomplish, which is to create a vibe and aesthetic, and also to pitch not only comedy, but also a little bit of their improv skills. So it's a nice amalgamation of a bunch of different challenges, but somehow it works because they are really more in control of it than I think even in the improv challenges where they are forced to be one specific character. They have to use certain buzzwords. Like, this is all them. This is all their personality. And I'm assuming that they have a bunch of art department folks who are there helping them make their vision come alive. I love these types of challenges. They're A tier for me. Next, we have the group design challenges like the fashion houses of season 15. I think these are such solid challenges. One, because all of the reasons I've said before about previous design. We get to see collaboration, which is something that doesn't happen often on Drag Race in the design element. I like seeing how they take a direction of maybe a specific color theme or maybe a specific person that they're referencing, like the Ross, Michelle, Carson houses, and then meeting that with their own personal styles and creating a collection. I think if these challenges were judged better, they'd be S tier, but for now I'll put them in A tier. Next we have Lollaparoozas, which are like 6 or more queens. I love performance challenges because a lot of these queens do this for a living, so we get to see them in their natural element. The problem is sometimes the playlists are whack, like Installation Royale or Season 14, so they're B tier. 2 category balls like Hello Kitty and Andy Warhol ball I think are a bit of a chop because they're so small. Like, they're not incomprehensibly small. Incomprehensibly. But compared to a 3 category ball, it's a little disappointing and it leaves me wanting something, so they're B tier. Then we have the 3 category balls, which are always S tier in my opinion. These call back to classic queer culture as well as pageant culture. I love the 3 category balls, and I love that they almost always end on something that they had to make themselves. S tier all the way. Then we have panel challenges, sort of like the DragCon ones. There was the presentational panel challenge of season 16. I like these well enough. Team synergy, team collaboration, all of that. These are B tier. Stand-up challenges where they just have to go up and tell jokes, like in season 3, these are generally B tier. And then we have the roasts, like the roast of RuPaul, Michelle Visage, Carson Kressley, the entire panel of Italia 2. I like those. I like the focus and intentionality of these, so they're A tier. Then we have the duo comedy sketches. I think sometimes they don't give them enough prompts, and then sometimes they give them too many. What I don't like are the ones where someone falls to the wayside and has to do something solo, like what happened to Roxy or Marsha. I think that drags down the overall ranking of these into C tier because it's super unfair and unkind to one queen in the room. Makeover challenges are such a good idea in theory. The problem is that these are the most inconsistently judged challenges across every challenge in every franchise. This unfortunately is a point where the judges do whatever they want, however they want, to secure someone going into the next round or the next episode. And so that drags down the score into B tier. I will say if I separate these where it's like make your outfit, like the season 8 Wizard of Oz challenge, I think those are A tier. All the other ones where it's like create a drag daughter, create a drag sister, a drag mother, those are lower. I think the fact that they don't have to make their own garments anymore for the makeover challenge really dilutes the specialness of it. I think it is more impressive when they create a look. Next we have a simple live singing challenge, which we don't see a lot of these anymore. We saw this back in like season 2 and 3 where they just had to go up and sing. Even up to season 4 they were still doing that. I don't like making them live sing any more solo than I do for the Rusicals. Back in the early seasons, I hated the song choices they did. These are C tier. Dual runways like what they did for Oh My Gaga, where they had to do a hometown and then a Gaga look, or like what they do often in the UK where it's Queen of Your Town plus some other type of focused look. The season 10 one where they had to create the personification of their inner saboteur. I love the idea of these dual runways. I like when that is the focus. I love, love, love when the entire theme of the episode is about what you bring to the runway. I think that's what makes Dragula so effective, is that it is all presentational. It's all how you bring a costume to life and present that to the judges, as well as to us as the audience. Those are A tier for me. Actually, those are S tier. Next we have tribute sewing challenges. They did this in season 11. They did this in All Star 7, the Betsy Johnson tribute, and in Canada 5 where they had to make looks for Brooke. I love the super fine-tuned focus of this. These are A tier. Presentational challenges like Draguation I think are a little flouncy in theory and don't always translate well to what we finally see, because like what are they doing? And who's the target audience half the time for these? Like it's not always the people that are watching Drag Race. I usually just am like scratching my head on why we're doing it. I think they're B tier because they're often executed well. I just don't understand why they're doing it. Voiceover design challenges where they have to create a look and then create some type of voiceover for the runway, like they did for the season 9 Princess Challenge, Wicked Good, or Drag Tots. I like that they get to add a little bit of humor, but sometimes I wonder, are they judging the challenge based on the costume they created or how funny they were? And so it creates a little bit of dissonance where I don't always know what the judging parameters are, because someone will create a knockout look but maybe not be as funny, or someone will be exceptionally funny and create something that's kind of garbage. I go back and forth on it. I like what we usually see, but not how the judges perceive it, so it's B tier. Monologues, like the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent monologues, I'm gonna put it B tier. We don't see these too often, but every once in a while they'll crop up in international seasons as well. News reporting, like what they did in season 3. They did it in Holland too. They've done it in UK too. I like the idea of these challenges, but not all the parts are always written equally. I think they're B tier because sometimes they just get the most bum-ass writing, and then someone is left to the dust to perform horribly. Interview challenges like they've done in season 6. I like what this wants to be. RuPaul's show, Tyra's show. But then sometimes what happens is contestants like Jocelyn will have really done their research and they know what they're talking about, but then they're edited to seem like they did worse than they actually did. When they asked a completely appropriate question for the scenario because it was written about in Georgia's book. And then there are people that just show loads of personality that don't always get shown properly. Yeah, I don't know. I think these types of challenges have interest, but sometimes they get sloppy, like in Thailand too, and they leave me kind of like uncomfortable and cringing, and I don't like to cringe. So I'm gonna put these at C tier. And of course there's a bunch of miscellaneous challenges, like the wrestling challenge of season 4, the magic challenge of season 11, diva worship of season 11, oh no she better don't of season 6. I feel like it's kind of a miscellaneous one-off thing. We don't see a lot in that archetype. There are a couple iterations of like Bossy Rossi. They did that in US and they did I think one version of that in the UK. These are things that are kind of you know, Pink Table Talk also falls under that. These are so one-off that I couldn't necessarily whittle them down into one thing. But if there's anything glaringly obvious, like a huge trope of a challenge, let me know in the comments below, because I'm sure I missed something. That has been my ranking of every single Drag Race challenge that I could think of. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see y'all on the flip.